and kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Yes, let's keep moving on, my Straight Talk family. Wherever you are in the universe, I extend greetings to you because we are on the World Wide Web and we communicate with you all over the globe. From right here in the beautiful federation of two islands, one lovely paradise, that's St. Kitts and Nevis. So we say good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region. And as I will say rather, greetings to the entire world because we are on the World Wide Web. And we reach and touch you in the Kittitian division and Caribbean diaspora. And we want to thank all those who continue to share our link because we do have our first timers this time around, and we do welcome the first timers and to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underlying free expressions of all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have your a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of national discourse. We try to raise the level of national consciousness by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Pattis Liburd, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I always pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. And I'm reminded most times by the words of a favorite hymn of mine, which written by Thomas Jackson and Franz Haydn. And an excerpt goes something like this, and I love it. We are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. Let's seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So my Straight Talk family, absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We try not to make it more interesting, neither by omission nor by exaggeration. We are not about sensationalism or creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we lean on the facts. My Straight Talk family, it is my duty to present at all times what I call it the unvarnished truth. Nothing but the truth, especially when it comes to governance in St. Kitts and Nevis, and for that matter, wherever you are in the world. And my Straight Talk family, this program, yes, brings us together with people all over across the Federation. Through this program, we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. Some we know very well, some we have met, some we do not know and may very well never meet. But that's not important. It doesn't stop our communication, I should say. It is important. It's good to touch the flesh. But some of us will disagree, some will agree. And that's fine, because we promote what I call a diversity of views here on Straight Talk. And some people take it beyond the stretch. I know that. I do get your complaints, and I understand how you feel at times, you know. But what will sadden me nonetheless is if ever we start to become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God in the meanwhile for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So let's therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing His praise together. So welcome once again, my Straight Talk family, and thanks again for those who continue to share the link. Please continue to do so. And for the first timers, I trust and hope it would not be your last time. And hear me, if you like it, to tell the whole world. If you don't, find some way to come and tell me. But I will always remind you as well, and for the first time, that Straight Talk is a participative program. We would like to hear from you. So we include your calls, we include your emails. And if you're so mindedly calling, the numbers are on your screens. The email address is on your screen as well. And for those of you who like the cloak of anonymity, yes, you can use your emails, yes, but be respectful. Sometimes you give me so much trouble, I have to ensure that what you're saying there don't run me in trouble. So please, not because you hide behind the keyboard, please let's do things that are right. For those who have the Alexa app, we also come to you live via Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. And some of you have made donations, and some ask me. I haven't been able to follow those donations because I don't have the access to it. There's a group, a company that provides that service. So I don't really know. So if I don't acknowledge them, forgive me, my Straight Talk family. But in the event you have, I say thank you. I must also reassure you that no matter how small your contribution is, it will help to continue this important service. And others who wish to donate can simply scan that code on your screen to access the payment form. And that's a very simple process. So thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And for the special welcome to the young brigade. Neema, my grandson, and his good friend Soraya. I haven't seen Soraya for some time. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Young Rue, Costa, Jamalin Anguilla, Travis and Travon. Hope things are well. And that special lady in St. Louis. Hope things are well as well. I always have my observations in review, and I want to forego such observations because my thesis I selected tonight, I have titled Darby Duped Conumunu Government. $130 million gone with the Marina. I want to spend some time on that very important topic tonight, especially since our Prime Minister, feeling the weight of the pressure, released a statement today which is so insultive. He continues to insult the intelligence of our people, and it gets some people angry. I bother on getting angry myself, but I try to control, try to understand that the Prime Minister apparently knows no better. So please don't change your platform. Just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Alexa. And as I said, I wanted to make an observation in relation to the fair share. We haven't heard much about this fair share, and everyone has begun to speculate. Mark Brantley literally mashed up a government, nice government that everybody loved, people still yearn for, because it's based on the unity, coming together of political parties, not like the coming together of that leader of the opposition and the government, because the opposition has a specific role to play, and we don't find that role being undertaken by our current leader of the opposition. But the question of fair share for Nevis, which actually, like I said, brought down a government prematurely, we have not heard much about that. But I will forego that tonight and my other observations and move right into my thesis, which I said it's so important. I wanted to really spend some time on this thesis, because some people just seem to be malicious. Some people, they are just precious liars, and you wonder why. And I've titled my thesis, like I said, Darby Duped Conumunu government. $130 million gone with the Marina. And last Monday, a Monday gone, the 26th of May, I brought to your attention something that I labeled a very interesting press release from the Prime Minister's office with respect to the sale of the Marina at Christopher Harbour. He has been mum. He has been silent on the issue of the privatization of the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport, the privatization of the operations. But we'll get to that. We haven't forgotten that. But we'll spend some time and focus on the sale of the Marina. And his release released from the Prime Minister's office, as I said earlier, spoke to the sale of the Marina assets. And I also posted the full text of the release, which reads as you can see on your monitors there, that, and they speak about the shareholders in Christopher Harbour, the government of St. Kitts and the Darby family. We'll get to that as well. But at this point, I must say, and the full text, like I said, is there on your monitors, on your screens. Christopher Harbour and its shareholders, the Darby family and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Very interesting. And at this point, let me as well say welcome again to those who may have just joined Straight Talk for the first time. And for your guidance, especially the first timers, and I'm sure all who are with me over the years are fully well aware that on Straight Talk, we call it as we see it. There's no spin, no fluff. And tonight I come to you not just as a citizen of this country, but as someone who is disappointed and frankly disgusted. Because the content of the release from the Prime Minister's office I just read saddened me. And whoever penned that sorry statement they must think that the people of this country are fools, or worse, that we don't care when our national birthright is handed over like cheap trinkets to a foreigner. And this so-called investor didn't bring in a cent of his own money to the country. This investor used our land, our resources, and even our people. And to date, after 20 years, gave nothing back. Not a dollar repaid, not a benefit in sight. And the government, silent, complicit, Conumunu to the core, led by a Conumunu Prime Minister who clearly values foreign applause more than local prosperity. Tonight, as always, we are going to cut through the nonsense. We, as always, talk straight about leadership, accountability, and the reckless giveaway of what belongs to the people of this federation. Straight Talk will address the glaring omissions in this press release. For example, how much was the Marina sold for, and were the proceeds of the sale used to settle SIDF and National Bank loans? The Prime Minister woefully tried to address that today. And they are pertinent questions. And I said before, when I read the release, my immediate reaction was that we have a Conumunu government, beg your pardon, led by a Conumunu Prime Minister. And let me explain this, because I'm not certain if the term Conumunu government is a standard term in political science or official governance language. But for sure, it is a Caribbean slang that we from St. Kitts and Nevis or the wider OECS islands use colloquially and critically to describe a government perceived or a government that comes across as foolish, incompetent, easily manipulated, or lacking common sense. And when you hear our Prime Minister make statements like this, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear my Prime Minister, beg your pardon, make statements like this, you know what I'm speaking about.
The Christoph Harbour situation, I know the reporters asked about it last week, and you said the government was not writing off any debt. But when people are bandying about the talk that the debt is going to be written off, it means that the debt probably is not being serviced. Can you address that for us? Because remember, they borrowed this money from the CBI, and, as far as I'm concerned, I have a right to know about it. So let us know if it's up to date, if they're honoring the obligation to the Federation.
Right. I want to thank the caller for her call, and these are very important questions. When it comes to the issue of Christoph Harbour, there is not a loan agreement. We have an investment in Christoph Harbour.
My Straight Talk family, when this comes from the mouth of our Prime Minister, Terence Michael Jew has to be a gullible or foolish person, and I say so respectfully. Someone who is easily duped or taken advantage of, or just simply daft. So, when Straight Talk says that we have a Conumunu government, Straight Talk is suggesting that the Terence Michael July administration is making unwise decisions, being duped by outside interests or developers, fails to understand or defend the national interests, or are mismanaging national resources out of ignorance or political weakness. government's handling of Christophe Harbour development suggests that the leadership failed to distinguish between a loan and an investment. First and foremost, it allowed public assets to be misused or sold without proper benefit to the nation. So in plain terms, a Conumunu government, for those reasons, is one that acts foolishly, gets taken for a ride, and ultimately it is we, the people, who must and will suffer the consequences. Now the facts are, my Straight Dog family, and let's look at the loan versus an investment. And on this 11th of November in 2015, Christophe Harbour signed a loan agreement with the SIDF for US $16 million. Verify that on your screens, my Straight Dog family. The Christophe Harbour signed a loan agreement with the SIDF for a sum of some 16 million US dollars. And if you look to your right, extreme right, you can see that loan agreement. And if you look to your left, first of all, in the third paragraph, is it the third paragraph? That's section 1.2. It says the loan. And you see the loan agreement, the cover page in the center. Loan agreement between Christophe Harbour Lending Company Limited as borrower and St. Kitts Nevis Sugar Fund Industry, Sugar Industry Diversification Fund, it should be, a foundation as lender, dated November 11, 2013. And look at section 1.2 to your left. It says, subject to the terms and conditions hereof, the lender agrees to provide borrower with a term loan, it said the loan, in the original principal amount of US $16 million. So my Straight Dog family, you can confirm, or we have confirmed, I hope, that it is a loan agreement. So what on earth was this Prime Minister talking about? Ask yourself. And forgive me, it was signed by Bill, Steve Boye, and Terence Crosman. Crosman on behalf of the SIDF. Crosman at the time was, in fact, the CEO at the SIDF. It's still on your screens, my Straight Dog family. So I hope we have settled that nonsense that this Prime Minister is not a loan, it is an investment. And my Straight Dog family, moving forward, to say that the SIDF invested $16 million in Christophe Harbour, it's so ludicrous, my Straight Dog family. It's like coming from a dundudik, tell you the truth. He said this.
So if Christophe Harbour is presently valued at about $600 million, the country earned 30% of that. So calculate that, EK. 30% of 600 million. Close to 200 million.
200 million, my
so
lord.
So we own the country now, indirectly, but the SIDF owns about $200 million of Christophe Harbour. We can decide what we want to do with it. The truth is we had put in 16 million. As a matter of fact, there is a plan that we can get that in land and sell the land and make, SIDF can sell the land and make a profit. Mm-hmm. So I want to let people know it's not a loan, it's an investment. And we own 30% of Christophe Harbour. And we can decide how we dispense of it. However, I would say that we are in a very good position. Right. So I want people to start thinking, rethink. Right. So the caller spoke about a loan, but just to inform her, there's no loan arrangement here. There's an investment.
What nonsense, my Straight Dog family. And I'm not a violent guy, but in days gone by, you'll hear he'll get his front teeth knocked out for the stupidness he's uttering, my Straight Dog family. That's what will happen with Jew. He will get his front teeth knocked out. The truth is, though, Buddy Darby, in his smartness, convinced the SIDF to enter into what is called a limited liability company agreement in October 2013 with one of his many companies in Delaware, my straight dog family. This is what smartness, this is what Buddy Darby, I can't even describe him the way he ought to be described. But with one of his many companies, as again you can glean from your monitors, my straight dog family, that Buddy Darby in his smartness entered into this agreement. You can see a joint venture, he called it, with the KHT Joint Venture LLC and the SIDF, and it is signed by Charles P. Darby III and Terence Crosman, again of the SIDF, my straight dog family. But very interesting, because this was Darby's strategy, no doubt, to fund his shortfall in capital. He obviously anticipated shortfall in capital, and it was no doubt, if you can glean again from your monitor without trying to burden you with too much information, I'll take my time on this one. And if you look at this one, my straight dog family, you'll see that coming up, it's already on your monitors. And the shortfall, it says, it is based, my straight dog family, on the requirements, the financial requirements of the company. It's seeking to suggest, my straight dog family, it is suggesting here, my straight dog family, that this company, Buddy Darby himself, perhaps is saying, listen, whenever I need some money, I just run to this company. That's how you can think about this one, my straight dog family. Because when you look at this, my straight dog family, when you look at this joint venture, you can see, my straight dog family, you can look at the executed page number 1, but you can also see, and you can read for yourselves, that the the second paragraph, my straight dog family, is it? Yes, the second paragraph? Yes. Where the company, no, this the other one, let's move on. I'll move on to the other one that speaks to the shortfall. Yes, the shortfall is in this one. Yes, it is in this one. I'm not finding it here on my own monitor before me. But it says the shortfall, my straight dog family, the shortfall, let me get that for you. Be with me, my straight dog family. The initial contribution, and then we have the stated agreement, and yes, we have the shortfall. Where is the shortfall? The agreement. And yes, the shortfall, which is there in section 2.2, additional funds. It says, if the board determines that additional funds are required to fund a shortfall in connection with either A, operational expenses, including without limitation administrative overheads and payroll. Imagine the payroll for currently budgeted capital projects. The result then, to the extent the aggregate amount of the shortfall does not exceed $5 million. So the man wants, or he has tied the SIDF to give them money when they want. And this was Darby's strategy to fund his shortfall, my straight dog family. The initial contribution. Look at the initial contribution for yourselves, my straight dog family. The initial contribution and the capital invested by the SIDF was $300 US. $300 US, my stray dog family. That's the initial contribution of the SIDF. And the initial capital contribution by Darby was $700 and gets 70% of the company and the SIDF 30%. That is what it is all about, my straight dog family. So don't believe no nonsense that Drew is talking about investment and $200 million. Nonsense, my straight dog family. Nothing but pure nonsense. When Team Unity came into office, Timothy Harris, then Prime Minister, put things right, my straight dog family, by procuring the services of Grant Thornton, my straight dog family. Timothy Harris recruited the services of Grant Thornton, the world's 7th largest professional services firm, with some 73,000 employees and US $7.5 billion in revenue. $7.5 billion. Therefore, my straight dog family, the equity position of the SIDF, the equity position of the SIDF in Christopher Harbour was established clearly with a $300 US initial capital investment by straight dog family. But hear this. According to Grant Thornton, it is between $6 to $7 million and US $9 million, not $200 million or $300 million. And this is the cover letter from Grant Thornton, my straight dog family. And Grant Thornton, like I said, well-established company, did the valuation report. He provided a history. He provided a historical background as well, my straight dog family. And very clear and straightforward. He provided a very straightforward background account of what they actually investigated, my straight dog family. And you can glean from the screen, my straight dog family. You can glean from the screen that okay, I'll get back to that. I think I've skipped that inadvertently for my straight dog family. Let's get back to that Grant Thornton. I'll take this one then. The Grant Thornton valuation of the company. And you can read from your monitors again, my straight dog family, very clear. From your monitors, it is pellucid what Grant Thornton wrote. And it says, and I read, once the assets above are adjusted to their fair market value and all liabilities are deducted, including the notes payable owing to Darby Caribbean LLC and the St. Kitts Nevis Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, SIDF, we have determined that on block fair market value of KHT to be in the range of $28 to $35 million. SIDF owns 30% of the outstanding shares of KHT. Thus, their pro rata equity value is in the range of $8,431,000 to $10,627,000. For further clarification, it should be noted that this is the equity value after the related party notes mentioned above have been fully repaid. Read that last paragraph with me, my Straight Dog family. SIDF is a 30% shareholder in KHT and Darby is a 70% shareholder. Due to this, SIDF is in a minority position and thus the equity position is subject to certain discounts. Based on this, we have determined a minority discount of 15% to 20% for the SIDF position, which results in the fair market value in a range of $6,745,000 to $8,502,000 based on the 20% discount and $7.167 million to $9.033 million based on 15% discount. So what is this Conumunu talking about? SIDF has a $200 or $300 million stake in Darby's company. Darby is smarter than that. How could Terence Michael July defend Buddy Darby? That to me is as far as the East is from the West. An agreement, in fact, was signed with a span of 20 years. First in 2005. And they said what they would do in 20 years. Does Christopher Harbour deserve to be let off when they promised to bring their own money? Number one. They brought nothing. Denzel Douglas made a song and dance about the amended agreement, my Straight Dog family, in 2007. A song and dance he had about this amended agreement in 2007. It was first signed in 2005. But this is the agreement, my Straight Dog family. We always provide you the evidence. And this is the evidence, again, on your screens, on your monitors, my Straight Dog family. Read for yourselves. Do not be fooled. Do not be duped like the Conumunu. Please do not be duped. And you can see from your monitors there again, my Straight Dog family, that this agreement signed on the 15th of June 2007, this is the amended agreement. It says the second amendment to St. Kitts Development Company agreement, the St. Kitts Peninsula Resort. And this is about a 40 or 50 page agreement, if I recall, my Straight Dog family. Look at the signatures to your right. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas and Charles P. Darby III. My Straight Dog family, this is the agreement. They promise so many things. Look at the fourth paragraph. Whereas Kiowa Development Partners, Inc., a South Carolina corporation, is a long-time master developer of Kiowa Island, South Carolina, USA, which has well-recognized luxury accommodations, 6 championship golf courses, 10 miles of beaches, along with the Atlantic Ocean, and it goes on and on. And I remember that Ricky Skerritt, then Minister of Tourism, had this to say. And he was in London, I think he said this.
My name is Ricky Skerritt. I'm the Minister of Tourism for St. Kitts in the Caribbean. And I'm here as part of the delegation that's come to try to develop some more business for our tourism industry in St. Kitts. Late last year, we announced a really exciting project on 2,500 acres in the Southeast Peninsula, which is a relatively unspoilt and very pristine and beautiful area of St. Kitts. And it involves two small upmarket luxury and hotels and some residences, Mandarin Oriental and Auberge. It involves a golf course, a Tom Fazio golf course. Tom himself has said that this is going to be one of his better products. And it involves a marina, which will have 40 slips for mega yachts. Really exciting project, but it's going to be done with relative low density and very environmentally compatible. So a lot of studying and preparation has been going on for the last 2 years. And we're very excited about this project. It's going to help to, I think it's going to help to really cement St. Kitts on the world map of tourism.
And ask yourselves, my Straight Dog family, today, some 18 years after, where is St. Kitts Nevis on the world map of tourism? Christopher Harbour got 2,500 acres of our best lands, 30 miles of shoreline and 6 beaches, 3 of the best, 3 of which are in the top 10 beaches in the Caribbean, beg your pardon. And they boasted about this. They did, my Straight Dog family.
Christophe Harbor is 2,500 acres of land. We've got 13 miles of shoreline with the property, 6 beaches, of which I would argue that at least 3 of the 6 beaches are in the top 10 beaches in the Caribbean, which I think says a lot about the natural beauty.
And my Straight Dog family, on top of all the above, 2,500 acres of our best lands, 30 miles of shoreline and 6 beaches. On top of all the above, they got our money. They got 16 million US dollars from the SIDF, which they never paid back, my Straight Dog family. Underline, they never paid back 1 cent. They got 2 loans from the National Bank to develop the marina and did not pay back 1 cent either. 2 loans from the National Bank and they did not pay back 1 cent, my Straight Dog family. And here's the great Buddy Darby boasting.
England. What you see behind me now is phase 1, and that's 24 berths, and they range from 150 feet to 200 feet. And eventually we'll be adding to those berths over time and end up with somewhere around 250 slips. Right now, 11 of them are sold.
250 slips, he promised. They got 2 loans, like I said, from the National Bank to develop the marina and did not pay back 1 cent. And recall, my Straight Dog family, Denzel Llewellyn Douglas gave Christophe Harbour all the land. Remember, he went to the Parliament and acquired 854 acres of land and turned around and sold Christophe Harbour all that land for US $17 million. 854 acres. But my Straight Dog family, you think that was bad? In the process of acquisition, he took some land belonging to some owners. And those owners took the government to court and got a default judgment. Hear me. They got a default judgment of US $27 million. Marky has already sold it to Buddy Darby for 17. So where did you think the 10 million US dollars came from for the land sold by Douglas for 70 million? It came from the taxpayers. It came from you and I. US $10 million, my Straight Dog family. $27 million because of the recklessness of Denzel Douglas. That's what happened over there on the Southeast Peninsula. They had taking us for fools, my Straight Dog family. If you read that agreement, my Straight Dog family, Denzel Douglas agreed to hand over the roads to Buddy Darby and Christopher Harbour. And my Straight Dog family, on the team unity though, Buddy Darby met his match. He had to relate to a prime minister who has a PhD in accounts. And after negotiations, Buddy Darby agreed to release 430 acres of land for the SIDF loan. But then reneged on the agreement. On January the 9th, 2020, the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank filed claim number SKBHCV 2020/0013. They're in the court documents, in which the bank applied to the court to settle articles of the sale of the land pursuant to Section 75 of the Title by Registration Act and related matters. By virtue of Section 76 of the said Act, the court, it asks, had to 1. Settle the articles of sale, fix the upset price upon such information or valuation as may be considered necessary and sufficient, and 3. Appoint the day of sale, 4. Adjust the announcements, and 5. Determine the mode of publication thereof according to the nature and value of the property. All that happened, my Straight Dog family, the government changed in August 2022. And the case disappeared from the court. KHT Land Holdings Limited is the registered proprietor of 433.456 acres of land at Turtle Beach, at Salt Pan Estate in the parish of St. George in the Southeast Peninsula. Over there, my Straight Dog family. The subject property secured a loan offered to Christopher Harbour Development by the bank on February the 24th, 2014, but never paid a cent. The bank presented 4 witnesses who were cross-examined. Miss Caroline Adams, the bank's senior manager and of corporate lending. Mr. Donald Thompson, the then chief executive officer of the bank. Mr. Calvin Esdale, commissioned land surveyor, land development consultant and property evaluator, and Brian Kassab, realtor. And the evidence established that Christopher Harbour defaulted on his obligation to repay the money owed to the bank. And KHT pledged to the subject property to secure the payment, my Straight Dog family, of Christopher Harbour's debt. After my Straight Dog family, more than 6 years, the debt stands at more than what they borrowed. With accumulated interest, my Straight Dog family, Christopher Harbour owed the bank, or owes the bank, US $25 million. You do the mathematics, my Straight Dog family. Put that in EC dollars. Work with me. US $25 million equates or amounts to, and mathematics is my strongest weak point. $25 million amounts to, on average, my Straight Dog family, I got that wrong, 2.7. That's about $68 million. I stand to be corrected. But my Straight Dog family, Jew, Terrence Michael Jew, had the temerity, he had the boldness to tell us today that he was addressing us transparently about the sale of the Marina. Do you believe that, my Straight Talk family? You had the boldness to come and to tell us that he was addressing us transparently about the sale of the Marina. He said this, my Straight Talk family.
I address you today to speak directly and transparently about a remarkable new chapter in the development of our beloved country. I refer, of course, to the official sale of their Marina assets and operations at Christoph Harbour to the world-renowned Safe Harbour Marinas LLC. This move was not hasty. The Darby family, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, and Safe Harbour Marinas engaged in detailed, respectful, and accountable negotiations, resulting in a sale that benefits the people of this country in tangible, measurable ways. After meticulous negotiations, this government has secured direct payments of nearly 25 million Eastern Caribbean dollars from this transaction. These direct payments, which are only a part or portion of the sale price, are funds that are going straight back into our public institutions, settling long-standing debts and restoring financial order that was lost.
Imagine that, my Straight Talk family. Do you hear that? Do you believe what he said? My Straight Talk family? That's a question you may answer. But the case for justice, in conclusion, my Straight Talk family, must be resurrected. How can EC $25 million benefit the country in a tangible way? And he gave these specifics, my Straight Talk family. Terence Michael July gave these specifics about the sale of the Marina.
Specifically, the sale has facilitated the payment of EC $4.5 million to Social Security Board, EC $2.4 million to SCELEC, EC $5.7 million to the Sugar Industry Diversification Fund, or SIDF, EC $2.8 million to the National Bank Trust, and EC $2.7 million directly to the National Bank. Additionally, EC $3 million has been paid toward outstanding property tax arrears, and EC $3.6 million in stamp duties. These were debts left lingering for many years. With these payments, we have brought closure and clarity.
How could you bring closure and clarity, my Straight Talk family, with these payments? How could you? Terence Michael Drew brought neither clarity nor closure. Just look, my Straight Talk family, at the critical pieces of this broken puzzle. The case brought by the St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla National Bank. Under the former administration, which sought to establish rightful ownership and enforce financial accountability, over 433 acres of prime national land tied to the Christoph Harbour project. That case was not just about acres, it was about accountability, my Straight Talk family. It was about justice. It was about whether the people of this country, my Straight Talk family, would be repaid what was owed to them, whether a developer who borrowed and defaulted would be allowed to walk away while the people bore the costs. In that case, the bank asserted its claim to the land as security for unpaid debts and sought the court's permission to sell the property, not at fire sale prices, but at a just and fair upset price to recover what rightfully belonged to our financial system and by extension to our people. What happened to that case, we ask tonight? Why was it buried? Why has this government under Terence Michael July failed to resurrect the fight for those 433 acres of land? Those lands were pledged as collateral. They were tied to a loan. They're not a gift, not a grant, and certainly not an investment. The people were told for years, my Straight Talk family, that this project would generate over $17 billion. 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, beg your pardon, in 2005. Look at it on your monitors. That's what they said. They said it would generate $17 billion. We are not fabricating. We always bring you the facts, my Straight Talk family. And the facts are here for you to see. Look, my Straight Talk family, at the page 7 to the top. And let's go to the second line on the second page. And it reads, for example, have you seen it? Read from, for example. For example, development of the resort is projected to provide St. Kitts with total tax and economic benefits of over 17 billion US dollars over the next approximate 20 years. That was 2005, my Straight Talk family. 2005. It's 20 years. They haven't even generated $1 million, have they? We have no evidence of that. But this is what this says in the agreement, my Straight Talk family. Look at it. Read for yourselves. Again, my Straight Talk family. Development of the resort is projected to provide St. Kitts with total tax and economic benefits of over $17 billion over the next 20 years. The 20 years have gone by, my Straight Talk family. And what we have seen instead is the quiet disappearance of our patrimony, the silent sale of the Marina, and only pittance returned to the National Bank or the SID. We must reopen that case. We must demand the court revisit the question of rightful ownership. And we must establish a transparent upset price that reflects the true value of our land and not the whims of foreign developers or the silence of political operatives. This is more than a legal matter. It is a moral reckoning. We must not allow 433 acres of our children's inheritance to be written off like a bad loan. We must not allow the National Bank, built with the sweat of our people, to absorb losses while the rich and well-connected walk away with profit. We are not here to only dwell on failure. We are here to reclaim our dignity and demand action. And we demand the launch of a full independent audit and immediate forensic investigation into the Christopher Harbour project must be launched. We must follow the money, every loan, every concession, every deal. We must publish the development agreement. The original St. Kitts development agreement signed under Denzel Douglas, and any amendments made under subsequent governments must be made public. People have a right to know what was signed in their name, and we must demand repayment. Any outstanding loans from National Bank or SIDF must be accounted for. If Buddy Darby or his entities cannot pay, The government must take legal action to recover national funds or assets. We can't write off. It's not bad loans. And we must suspend further concessions. All future concessions to foreign developers must be frozen until a new, transparent, and accountable framework is established. We cannot give away what we do not have. And we must enact a Public Asset Protection Act. A new law must be introduced that prohibits the sale of strategic national assets without public consultation and parliamentary approval. And yes, we must mobilize the people. We must organize town halls, civic forums, and peaceful demonstration. This is not just about one Marina. It's about the kind of country we want to leave our children. And my Straight Talk family, finally, my people, the time for silence is over. The time for waiting is gone. Let's just send a clear message to this government and any other government that comes after, that we are not fools. We are not bystanders, and we will not be silent. It is time to put an end to the Conumunu politics that has drained our resources and insulted our intelligence. Let us stand for transparency. Let us stand for justice. And most importantly, let us stand for our future. Terence Michael Drew has abandoned his responsibility. He should not have taken deductions. Having sold the Marina, at what cost? The country still does not know. Didn't Buddy Darby have received enough money to pay off his debt? The Attorney General must have agreed as well, as no sale can be recorded without his consent. Buddy Darby will play the same old games as he did with Skellig. Who would believe that Sean Richards, as minister responsible for Skellig, approved the swap of 2 parcels of land on the southeast peninsula for debt Christopher Harbour owed to Skellig? So how was Buddy Darby allowed to accumulate $2.4 million in debt for electricity? How could Buddy Darby owe Social Security $4.5 million? Buddy Darby is no different to Garth Lucifer Wilkin. Birds of a feather, they flock together. They are the same. While other little employers go into jail, Buddy Darby owes owed $4.5 million for Social Security. If Drew wants to be transparent, then he must tell the people how much was paid for the Marina and how much did Buddy Darby keep for himself and Christopher Harbour. There's a stench of corruption in the atmosphere, my Straight Talk family. When the St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla National Bank is owed US $25 million with accumulated interest, and only $5 million collected for the National Bank and the National Bank Trust combined. My Straight Talk family, Straight Talk cannot predict whether Timothy Harris can come back like Donald Trump did in the last presidential election. But Straight Talk must tell you the truth as well. The calls for Timothy Harris are growing louder. Last night I heard this, my Straight Talk family. My Straight Talk family, that is the gospel truth. I can do nothing but tell you the truth. Because we have a dishonest bunch of politicians in government who took a hike in pay, but that has not eliminated corruption in the cabinet ministerial family. It has not.
But I'm hoping that the ministers can in fact get an increase in salary. It's something I wouldn't. It's something that I would not be opposed to.
In order to discourage ministers being corrupt, they should be paid well.
My straight dog family, they are still corrupt, even though they are paid well. My straight dog family, they are still corrupt. Hear what I say, even though they are paid well. But it is all of these anomalies. It is all of these irregularities why we have a Darby duped Conumunu government and $130 million gone with the Marina. And that's my story tonight, my straight dog family, and I am not going to change it. But I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your monitors. The email address is also on your monitors. I see I'm freezing and trust you're hearing me. But my straight dog family, I always want to implore you, when I open the lines, and I'll do so momentarily, I always want to implore you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let's just try to be fair to all concerned, and let's just try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let's ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And my straight dog family, in the process of doing and saying those things, let's just strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, my straight dog family, I go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. I'll call you live.
Good night. Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Yeah, good night, my dear.
The quote for this evening. Willful blindness is worse than ignorance. Because it's a refusal to face the truth.
Refusal to face the truth.
Rather than a lack of knowledge.
Rather than a lack of knowledge.
I repeat, willful blindness is worse than ignorance because it's a refusal to face the truth rather than a lack of knowledge. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much, and we welcome your quotations each time. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Yes, you're live, my brother. It sounds like the Bible man. Bible man. How are you today?
I'm fine, Mr. Patrick. Now, that is Psalm 91.
Psalm 91.
You tell you want this psalm, then I want to give you that.
Yes.
He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High
shall abide under the
shadow of the Almighty.
Yes.
I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge,
my strength,
my fortress. In God will I trust. Yes. You hear that, Mr. Patrick?
Yes, I've heard you loud.
Surely He shall deliver me from the snares of the fowler,
noisome fowler,
and from the noise of the pestilence.
Noisome pestilence.
He shall cover me with His feathers. Under His wing thou trust. His truth shall be my shield and buckler.
Yes.
Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the hour that flieth by day, nor the pestilence that walk in darkness, nor the destruction that come at noonday. You hear that?
Yes, my brother. I heard you loud and clear.
1,000 shall here we say 1,000 shall fall at thy side.
Yes.
10,000 at thy right hand, it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes thou shalt behold and see the wicked man. When the deal is when you are going to stay right there, when you seek God, God going to protect you. God is going to send, there shall no evil for you. There shall no plague come neither your dwelling. And so God is going to protect you. And so God is and He's the creator of the whole universe. Mr. Pattis, I am not going to take up no more time because I don't know why you don't stop them, Mr. Pattis. And you always, I don't know.
You know what?
When the company wait and chatting nonsense, why you don't stop them? All right. If you the moderator, right? We come and we country is a God-blessed country. We not deal with wickedness there. So have a pleasant night, Mr. Patin. Thank you.
Have a pleasant night as well, Mr. Bibleman. We always welcome your what I call spiritual interventions. Psalm 91, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Yes. I try to remember the Psalms when you bring them. I don't remember all of them, but I love the Psalms, believe it or not. And I told that I'm having a little difficulty with my overseas line. I hate that. I should have checked that, but I'm sure I'll get that up and running before we are done. So I accept my apologies in the meanwhile for those trying to get me from the diaspora. I'll get that sorted out, my Straight Talk family. Yes, I think I know what's going on. But my Straight Talk family, if you have just joined me, that if you have, my line is working, is it? Yes. I'll see about it. Yes, I thought it was not. It's in fact working. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Okay, I thought I lost a caller. My overseas line is in fact working, yes. Are you there, caller? Yes, you're live.
Okay.
Yes, it's working. Thanks for that. Yes.
Yes, I was getting nervous, Brother Patches.
Why, is that easily,
So
man?
this was kind of funny. Remember, I am picking up from where I left off.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, let me get to the point. I don't have no time to waste. Brother Patches, you have outlined, by the way, my manners is bad. Good night, listening folks. Good night, my listeners. Good night, our listeners. This is the one and only crusader for justice and a fighter for all with dignity. This is the voice of dignity coming straight to you, live and direct. Brother Patches, as you opened your statement about Christoph Harbour, I can't say I am upset because I have to be humble and decisive with my utterance. And I really mean this. For what deal went down, it has become and it is toxic. And when something is toxic, it must be undone. Look at what happened. Look at the knowledge and the literatures that you have shown and explained. Could anyone explain that? And if your utterance and your explanation and your documentation that you have shown, let's see who will come forward and contest that. And I bet there will be none. So these people, and we're talking about the government that is ruling, leading St. Kitts right now, they are doing so much damage to us as Kittitian and Nevisians that they don't have any conscience. What are they do? By the time they get out of power, which they are going to, and I will deem it will be, are they planning to pull the rug from under everybody's feet, and there will be nothing left for our children to come, and nothing for us which already being gone? Well, my brother, and my people of St. Kitts, I am asking you to be awakened. We need protests in the street peacefully. We need an election to be called immediately as a revolution. And we need someone, and all hands on the deck, to lead this fight against all those contrary to us. It's we against them, good against evil. And I'm asking, who else, and think in your heart, who else will follow that fight, that struggle? This is a struggle, you know, this ain't no joke. So if your people, Kittitians and Nevisian, wherever you are, diaspora, North America, China, too numerous to mention, if you all think this is a joke, you all better wake up, because here is it. One, when we wake up and you hear you don't have a St. Kitts, and you might even have a different name, you will be sorry. And it's better to do what is necessary that is necessary now, than for the late cry. Too late will be the cry. That is, for the deal with Christophe Harbour, that is null and void in my eyes. People, you all need strong, serious-minded leader to represent this country. And also, I know I'm going to get some backlash from those who don't like to hear. And everybody rooting for the previous administration, the previous government who was there, recycled politicians. They were there and they done us harm too. And don't think about bringing them back, because they are all the same. To repeat will be another chance again. And being more invincible and decisive, do not take that chance. We don't need back any recycled politician. We need young, not even young. We need wise men. Wise men. It doesn't matter. Some saying they need doctors. Some saying they need lawyers. Who failing us? All those. Well, give a dumb man a chance. Give a dumb man a chance and let's see how they perform. That's what not being tried yet. Okay? And sweep those others aside. Because there are clouds on all these leaders who are trying to get back in. Dark clouds. Okay? And I thank for Marisha, Jeffrey Marisha, for revealing to the Kittitian, but it seems like it's not enough. I am going to come in with mine too. I was just waiting for the proper time. But if Marisha could release information that I shall release mine, because all of us have sourceful information. And I'm going to release it, and I'm going to start to call names. Because all these leaders, they stole our money, they stole our patrimony, and you want to bring them in again? I am not agreeing with the thief that share, neither. We don't want no damn thieves. Let them go about their business. No way in governance for them. They should be banished. Patches are going to heal again. I'm raising my temperature too much. I'm going to bring it down by stopping now. I'm going to come again. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you, folks. We got to keep this fight, and we got to elect a government that will take back all these debts and tear up all these deals and run them out of the country, because they're here to steal and kill. And I know for sure under my watch that's not going to happen. But if you or others want to let that happen to you all, well, that's your call. You make your bed, you lie in it. Thank you, bye. Thank you, bye for now again.
Thank you very much. We go back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Liburd, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Straight to it. Our leaders don't have no integrity. They're selling out the place, and they're not representing the people that put them there. At the end of the day, our parents did not raise us like this. They instilled some great qualities in us, and all of us now is some of us, the most of us, whoever is involved in all of this shabam shaboom, we are all adults now. And I am not in cotton gown where I grew up, where I was born, and I slept in a bed with 2 or 3 brothers. I am not in cotton gown anymore. I am not a kid anymore. I'm a full-blown man. I'm an adult, and I need that respect from my own family members. They ain't gonna treat me like I'm no kid. I'm an adult. With that said, there's corruption in our families. There's corruption in our communities, amongst our citizens, and it's corruption amongst our leaders. The current crop of leaders of the day, they need to be replaced. They have failed us as a federation. Abraham Traore, big up the status. Patches, last time I spoke to you, there was a coup in Ivory Coast. Guess what? There's another coup again yesterday or today in Kenya. Big up to the people on the continent of Africa. The young people are making a difference and they're making changes. And one thing I like about those coups, it ain't seems like anybody being killed. Normally when there's a coup, it's a bloodbath. So something is different about these coups here. It's as if like the people are pushing behind their military leaders to take over those so-called democratic elected leaders who are so corrupted. Everywhere there's black people, is corruption. Corruption in the Caribbean, corruption on the continent of Africa. But guess what? The African continent is moving forward. We in the Caribbean have to realize what's going on in the world stage with this geopolitics. In our own small island state of St. Kitts and Nevis, when the next election cycles come around, I hope the ballots could be flooded with independence. Persons in the communities, they need to come forward, the independent minds. But just lastly, before I get off, and I'll come back later if I can, with what you projected forward tonight, this Christoph Harbour situation, you know, our leaders, it just seems like, you know, they don't really care about the citizens, man. They don't care about our children to come. And it's too much money being wasted. Too much loans have been forgiven. Too much underhandedness is happening. And the end result of the day is that the citizens are going to pay because they're going to increase taxes on us to recuperate the money that they mismanage. The money is going everywhere else instead of developing the country and investing back into the citizens.
Okay.
You know, they put one last thing, Patches. They're projecting some of these programs, like the Aspire program, and some of these programs that they are projecting for the kids. Guess what? If they continue like how they're continuing now, it will be nothing for those kids to reap from those investments.
Okay.
Have a good night, man. I ask the St. Kitts Nevis people to wake up. Thanks a lot.
Have a good night as well. Thanks for your intervention. The nonsense I listened to today reads this email. My questions would be, why wasn't the country made aware the Marina was for sale? Were there any other submissions to purchase? Who decided on this buyer? At what level was this decided? Was it an individual decision, a cabinet decision? Who or what? How can this speech be made and transparency mentioned when it was done in this manner? These people have to stop taking liberty with people's common sense. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Hello, Patrice. Good night.
Good night, my dear.
How are you? I'm also good.
Yourself?
I'm okay. What I'm saying that they keep on and telling the caller talking saying that he don't want no repeat politician. The way how things going today, if somebody new going inside there without experience, it's hell to tell the priest because they don't even know jack spot. Yep. So when he talking about he don't want a repeat politician, he better take a repeat politician who will able to swing around and have an idea. Them new people where they go inside there, independent and whatever they crap they call it, and they will hold this country running with somebody without experience. Come on. So if anybody going there without experience, it's hell to tell the priest. That's all I have to say. According to my grandmother, it's hell to tell the priest.
Thanks a lot. This message reads, Mr. DJ Marishaw, many people were expecting you to launch a scorched attack on that uneducated idiot of Lime Keel who abused Patches and you in a recent post he made. This guy does not possess as much sense as Mongoose. He is an inborn jackass. His mother has nothing to do with him after he cursed her off so bad in public. So don't expect anything better from this village senseless booby. He has no respect for anyone. Only he alone must abuse and criticize the Labour Party, for it belongs to him. He can go on Freedom Radio and curse Mrs. Henry as he likes, and no one dare censor him, because they are all afraid of his vile, dirty mouth. He constantly disrespected Harris during his prime ministership, calling him all kind of big stone, and was never one stopped, nor berated by the station management. He constantly disrespected Harris during his prime, by this management. However, recently Jam Down referred to Dr. Drew as a little boy, and he was immediately cautioned in these words: I cannot allow you to call the Prime Minister a little boy, as he was cut off. Real double standards at work. So DJ, let the village donkey bray and answer himself. Go back to the lines. Caller, you are live, and I thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches, good night.
Yeah, good night, sir.
Yeah, how are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm peaceful same way. That's because I give my contribution, And my back is broad. I can't take any criticism because I'm speaking word of righteousness and truth, and I'm not afraid to deliver myself politically. Patches, I listen to you. And I understand what you're saying about Crystal Harbor. But I would have to do more study on that, have more knowledge of it, of the deal that the government has made. I recognize, according to what I heard you said and what you're saying, that the government had to take a big loss. Skelet, the bank, and everybody had to take a big loss because they did not achieve the money that they should have from Crystal Harbor. Well, I guess in reality, all these things happen sometime because, as I said to you, before, it's corruption. And corruption has no righteousness inside of it. It's all bad. And there's no good going to come out of corruption, Mr. Patrick. So, why the government have to take that loss, and as your sentiments say, there's money there still that you're not talking about, all that is, we have to learn about that. And all that lies in corruption, politics. Okay? And politicians always use manipulation to manipulate the people. And this is what the people of every country are facing when they make decisions to elect politicians. Manipulation. And that is one of the easiest things to do to a human being. Words. Words is power. Sweet words, promising words come from all the politicians and that one think it. And 95% of the people only get a little out of the sweet words of the politicians. 95% of the people stay poor, stay in poverty. So by you saying now, and Jew is saying that they make a decision to sell certain part of the harbor, Crystal Harbor, and the government have to endure a loss. All that is corruption. It should not be. But when wrong decision and corrupted decision has made in the past, that will have to weep in the future. So who have to pay the consequences? The people. The people have to suck up the loss. And all these things happen because the government have an actual knowledge and technique and tactics how to manipulate the people. And I does not stand to be manipulated. That's why I'm a freedom speaker. So when even your callers are cussing me and saying all kind of prohibitive things about me, I speak my mind. I speak the truth that comes from my heart. I'm a God-fearing man. I don't care what they say about me. I stand in the presence of God, righteousness, and I speak truth. All politicians take advantage of the people of the country. They gain for themselves, and poor people gain nothing but a 2x4 house. An 8x7 bathroom, bedroom. That's all we gain, the poor people gain. And your government, I going to hit you in a kind of way politically. Corruption, because Venezuela gives you all money to build homes for people, and you all turn around charging the people for the homes. That's corruption. When you all should give the people the contribution, the elders. That's political corruption again, Mr. Patrick. So it's based on corruption.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
I've heard you loud and clear. Thanks a lot for your contribution. And we understand what you're saying there. But Patches reads this email. Good evening. I feel you, my brother. Terence Jew is a house wag. Yes, I said it. About he went to England and saw the king. Yes, he saw the king. But he was not in no living room, Patches. He was in a room that the Brits have for wags and traitors. Ambassador, where is Timo? He should be hitting the streets, rallying the crowd. But he cannot touch that all of them PMs, from Simmons to Drew, know what they did with CBI money. And Drew knew about the $1 million gamble he got last election from BD, the outlaw. Peace, my brother, and plenty respect. Reads that email. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, sir.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm blessed by the Almighty God. Mr. Liburd, I'd like to find out why is the Minister of Tourism is traveling that much now? And I made to understand that the CEO, for example, is also gone with us to Canada. That is something that the normally does.
Well, you can expect anything from this bunch of members in cabinet, you know. So, and I don't expect them to be normal. So, you know. CEO of UDC and the minister are drinking partners, they call them. That's what we call them, drinking pals, you know.
But when I get to understand about it, I said, no, that shouldn't be. She shouldn't be leaving urban development business to go with the Minister of Tourism.
It's a friend.
Minister of Tourism have people in her office so she could take along with. And they still need to look into. She abandoning her job and going with the Minister of Tourism and people calling and speak about it. How could she get things done? That's why I want you back in number one so you can get things done. I want you back in number one, Mr. Driver, for you to get things done. And I'm not going to stop until you tell me, yes, I'm going to take up the challenge and come back and do what you all want me to do. Even though you're saying, oh, you don't have the people saying what's going on now. Because the Minister of Education, he went over to Miami and get some chairs and desks and get the lady who in Miami have a business to bring them to St. Kitts. And up to now, the lady has get no money as yet. And he's boasting off about the teachers them had chairs and they've been all sort of things, but he not pay the lady her money to push it to pay her staff. And these things, these are corrupt things the Minister of Education is doing. We need you back, Mr. Liburd, back, which I told you that you were a manager up at the ELC port. And you did a fine job up there too, after you take up Mr. Osborne's position.
I've heard you, my brother. I'm humbled, you know. And
she went into Parliament and passed that the people could get the severance money And up to now, she's not thinking about getting the people severance money. I need my severance money. But she got up and down dry riding with the CEO from Port Zanta. And it is not right. You have a pleasant night, Mr. Liburd.
Thank you. Have a pleasant night as well. Straight Talk family. Yes, we take this other email patches. Please ask your callers to speak properly. Some of them have more antics than ants. Reads this email. This other email reads, based on the Prime Minister's broadcast about Christopher Harbour, that ain't sound like no sale to me. It sounds like a giveaway. Where you be? This needs a commentary with this other email. My Straight Talk family, you may have just joined me and joined me late. And I am looking at my thesis tonight, which I titled Darby, Duped, Conumunu government, $130 million gone with the Marina. And the Prime Minister, under pressure no doubt, spoke today about transparency. And this is what he said, my Straight Talk family.
I address you today to speak directly and transparently about a remarkable new chapter in the development of our beloved country. I refer, of course, to the official sale of their Marina assets and operations at Christopher Harbour to the world-renowned Safe Harbour Marinas LLC. This move was not hasty. The Darby family, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, and Safe Harbour Marinas engaged in detailed, respectful, and accountable negotiations, resulting in a sale that benefits the people of this country in tangible, measurable ways. After meticulous negotiations, this government has secured direct payments of nearly 25 million Eastern Caribbean dollars from this transaction. These direct payments, which are only a portion of the sale price, are funds that are going straight back into our public institutions, settling long-standing debts and restoring financial order that was lost.
As we talk family, how can this sale benefit the people? And if Drew wants to be transparent, then he must tell the people how much was paid for the Marina and how much did Buddy Darby keep for himself and Christopher Harbour. There's a stench of corruption in the atmosphere. And when the St. Kitts, Nevis and Guyana National Bank, which is owed or let it has been now considered a bad loan and is written off, the National Bank is owed $25 million US, as over 65 million EC dollars, and only $5 million collected for the National Bank, then Terence Michael Joe has to be a Conumunu if he can say things like this.
Specifically, the sale has facilitated the payment of EC $4.5 million to Social Security Board, EC $2.4 million to Skellig, EC $5.7 million to the Sugar Industry Diversification Fund, or SIDF, EC $2.8 million to the National Bank Trust, and EC $2.7 million directly to the National Bank. Additionally, EC $3 million has been paid toward outstanding property tax arrears, and EC $3.6 million in stamp duties. These were debts left lingering for many years. With these payments, we have brought closure and clarity.
How can you bring closure and parity, Terence Drew? That's the point I make, or I made earlier, that the so-called investor did not bring 1 cent of his own money to this country. He got our land, our resources, our people, and gave nothing back. Not a dollar repaid, not a benefit in sight. And the government silent, complicit, my straight dog family. Conumunu to the core, led by a Conumunu prime minister who clearly values foreign applause than local prosperity. And that's the point I made. I made earlier for those of you who may have joined me late. I made the point that the content of the release from the Prime Minister's office, as I read earlier, whoever penned that sorry statement must think of the people as fools. My straight dog family have to think of the people as fools. And I'll get back to that, but let me take this call and get back to that. Caller, you're live. Thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Greetings, Mr. Patches. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm very, very good. Continue listening. Very interesting topic.
Thank you.
This subject, this entity from the peninsula, always an interesting subject for the nation.
Should be.
Humanity by nature is gifted to think freely, but in order that this free thought should lead him to the goal of liberty and independence, his way of thinking must be shaped by the process of education. And that's what it does. You bring these topics to the floor that the people should be enlightened and involve themselves in the debates because it involves our country. For instance, our late Robert Bratcher, the peninsula, always an interested piece of development in our country. So it's rightful that all should be involved. If it's not a loan, it's an investment, why are we hearing records of repayment? There shouldn't be no record of repayment, if my memory serves me. Right with that kind of reasoning. And also, Mr. Patches, if we are saying government is continuous and there is a business investment entity in our country and a contract is signed by a government in a year, let's say 2005, 2006, we cannot talk today as though we only could look at from the past 7 years. We got to look at how the business was established for we to go forward with our development. So these are things you cannot outdo evidence. Otherwise, we are people of this country will be seeking the liberation when it comes on business in this country. We won't be on top of anything. We will have people in here living as parasites of our people. And only the government should be the one who is being authority of the country. We cannot feel as though the entity, the Peninsula Road, is different from Bastia. No. We got to run the country with laws. Yep. And I do not see no one in here as no recycle politician. Whoever desires to put themselves within the ring, they do so. I don't see no one to say, well, okay, we shouldn't have no independence. Whoever entitled to put themselves in the ring, they put themselves in the ring from they have a contribution to develop the country. Mr. Patches, you continue to stay strong. and stay healthy. God bless.
God bless you as well. Thanks as usual. Very insightful contributions. I just lost that caller there just now. I do apologize for that caller. But, you know, when Christopher Harbour can owe the Social Security Board $4 million and more, my straight dog family, because the Prime Minister said that. But why did Buddy Darby, why wasn't he locked up? Why didn't he go to jail for not complying with the Social Security laws? Why not? Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
Good evening, my dear brother.
How are you, sir?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad at all. Very, very, very interesting thesis tonight.
Thank you.
My concern, though, is the Buddy Darby and crew. With all this garbage and corruption and that kind of thing that's been floating out there, I believe it's going to be very difficult to find an alternative developer to develop that Southeast Peninsula area. Because I think he's now got a stain on it.
Yeah.
And you may be able to help me here too. What nationality is that company that bought the Marina? Do you have any idea?
You know, I have not. I forgive me for that. I have not investigated that. I am Safe Harbor. I don't want to say. I don't want to say, but I have not really investigated it. Yeah.
But I'd really like to know which country has now owned this junk of St. Kitts. Because we don't want any old country owning our marina, you know. Because it can have negative consequences, especially since we're looking at tourism in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. The other thing, though, quickly, I don't know if you can not mention tonight, but some other night, look at the police dinner and awards function at Marriott. I think it was last week, Saturday night.
What about it, my brother?
Which seemed to have been
flopped,
snubbed by the police, based on beliefs that they're not being treated properly and that sort of thing. Their accommodation, their working areas and accommodation unfit for purpose, and they're short of vehicles and all sorts of things. And I would also like to know if any Nevis police were invited to that function.
I think Nevis had their own function. I stand corrected, but I think they had their own awards in Nevis.
I see.
I believe
I thought the police, St. Kitts and Nevis, came under national security.
That is true, but you know, they have their own. I understand it, but in terms of the logistics, I see nothing wrong with that. But maybe I'm wrong. But I stand to be corrected.
Yeah,
I think they had.
I know during Unity's time they rebuilt a new police station and fire station.
Yes, it's one police
for Newcastle.
It's one police force. You're right. But in terms of the functions and awards, I believe
the awards that given by Nevis and so on.
I think so.
For you to look into that,
I'll
because
check that out. Yes, I will.
there is something going on within that police force there, which cannot be for the benefit of all of us in St. Kitts and Nevis. But that Buddy Darby Southeast Peninsula thing, I'm very concerned about it. Because that was, as you quite rightly said, that was the future development for St. Kitts. Expected to bring in billions upon billions of dollars. I know, billions. We could do it about 3 billion and we'd be happy with that. Mind you, if we bring in 3 billion, you would probably buy his own private jet out of it. But
it's probably eyeing that already, you know?
Probably. But it's damaging for the country, what is going on there, because any developer is going to look back and see what went on and that kind of thing before they make a step forward. So, Mr. Drew, he has got a lot of cleaning up to do, but he doesn't seem to like to clean up. He likes to give a lot of BS and hope that everybody's stupid. But anyhow, Patches, boy, have a good night.
Have a good night as well. Always welcome your
right.
contributions, my dear brother. And when a company borrowed money, you borrowed money to construct a marina from the bank, and you sold the marina, and as the Minister of Finance and Prime Minister, you don't make sure that the bank gets back its money. That's your responsibility. That's why I say we have a Conumunu government led by a Conumunu Prime Minister. And I want to make the point before I leave. I said it earlier, so those who have joined me late. I am not certain if the term Conumunu government is a standard term in political science. I am not. Let me make that point. Or even in official governance language. But it is a Caribbean slang that we from St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm sure you've heard that, or the wider OECS islands for sure. It's used colloquially and critically to describe a government perceived, or a government that comes across as foolish, incompetent, easily manipulated, or lacking common sense. So when you hear the Prime Minister of our country make statements like this one, you have a loan, a $16 million loan from the SIDF, and you're going to come and speak from a point of ignorance like this?
The Christoph Harbour situation, I know the reporters asked about it last week, and you said the government was not writing off any debt. But when people are bandying about the talk that the debt is going to be written off, it means that the debt probably is not being serviced. Can you address that for us? Because remember, they borrowed this money from the CBI, and, as far as I'm concerned, I have a right to know about it. So let us know if it's up to date, if they're honoring the obligation to the Federation.
Right. I want to thank the caller for her call, and these are very important questions. When it comes to the issue of Christoph Harbour, there is not a loan agreement. We have an investment in Christoph Harbour.
What nonsense, my straight dog family. Are you telling me that the Prime Minister is not aware? And if he's not aware, we've heard this so many times, does he call his financial secretary? And if he doesn't want to speak with the financial secretary, a highly competent lady, Hilary Hazel, and asks what is the disposition with this particular arrangement with the SIDF? The SIDF been spoken about for years, since 2006. Look at the loan agreement on your screens, on your monitors, on your screens, I should say. Loan agreement between Christoph Harbour Lending Company Limited as borrower and St. Kitts Nevis Sugar Fund Industry Diversification Foundation as lender, dated November 11, 2013, Terence Drew. Look at Article 1.2. It says, loan subject to the terms and conditions hereof. The lender agrees to provide the borrower with a term loan in the original principal amount of $16 million. So Drew has to be a Conumunu when this comes from his mouth, but it's an investment. What nonsense. As our Prime Minister saying that. He has to be daft, my Straight Dog family. He insults our intelligence. So when Straight Talk says that we have a Conumunu government, Straight Talk is suggesting that the Terence Michael Drew administration is making unwise decisions, is being duped by outside interests or developers. It fails to understand or defend the national interests, or mismanages national resources out of ignorance or political weakness. Which it is, ignorance or political weakness. The government's handling of Christopher Harbour development suggests that the leadership failed to distinguish between a loan and an investment. And first and foremost, allowed public assets to be misused or sold without proper benefit to the nation. So in plain terms, a Conumunu government, for those reasons, is one that acts foolishly, is one that gets taken for a ride. And ultimately, it is we the people who must suffer the consequences. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Can you play the clip with the Prime Minister when he speak about pardoning the debt, so we could understand that more?
Pardon the debt? You said pardon the debt.
Yeah. Let me say you put pardon. He's going to just Christopher Harbour. He's going to give Christopher Harbour a haircut, or he's going to abolish the loan that they had for singers.
Well, okay, he didn't actually say it in those words, but he said that it is final, right? It's closure. Let me play what he said. Okay, thanks. I'll play that.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. He said there's closure, which means if he only collects $25,000, the other $125,000 are gone in the wind. But he said this.
So if Christopher Harbour is presently valued at about $600 million.
No, I'm sorry about that. That's not the one. He said this. I'm sorry about that for that request. He said this about the $25 million which he collected.
Specifically, the sale has facilitated the payment of EC $4.5 million to Social Security Board, EC $2.4 million to Skelec, EC $5.7 million to the Sugar Industry Diversification Fund, or SIDF, EC $2.8 million to the National Bank Trust, and EC $2.7 million directly to the National Bank. Additionally, EC $3 million has been paid toward outstanding property tax arrears, and EC $3.6 million in stamp duties. These were debts left lingering for many years. With these payments, we have brought closure and clarity.
Well, that's what he said. With these payments, we have brought closure and clarity. It tends to suggest to me that he has written off the balance or balances owed to SIDF and owed to the bank. But he has brought neither clarity nor closure. Just look at the critical pieces of this broken puzzle. I ask you, my Straight Talk family. I'll take two more calls. If these calls can be guided by brevity, caller, you're live. I'm going to guide you by the rules of brevity. Are you there,
yeah,
caller?
Patches, man. Let me get my second. Yeah, I'm here, man. Let me get my second chance, man. Please, man.
Quickly, sir. Quickly. I'm out of time.
Yeah. Question is, don't our people smart enough to invest in our own country? Why is all the foreign people just coming in? And secondly, that financial literacy course that's offered through the Aspire program, I think, it seems like the Prime Minister and the whole cabinet needs that. And the people of St. Kitts and Nevis got to come together and stand up and hit the streets to break this corrupted system. And that's all I'm encouraging. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot for your intervention. And I'll perhaps take this and make this my final call for tonight. I cut that caller off. I'm sorry for that. But the questions that linger. Caller, I'm going to guide you as well for the rules of brevity. I can only give you 15 seconds.
Okay. I'll try wrap it up in
Please, you have
14.
to. I don't think you have. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Patches. Everyone recognize my voice, but I'm going to say, I'm Winston Welker. I'm one who is trying my utmost best to save our country from the past corrupted ill that we sustained. And it is still there. And as it said, from one governance to another. No, Patches, I know there are some people fighting to bring back in. And if I use the word recycled politician, well, I'm going to escalate it to another level. Thieves, kleptocrats. I'm going to shy away from that recycled politician. Now, Patches, if we had a government that stole from the country, stole from the federation, stole from you, and you know that, and they know that, would you give them a chance again? Apart from due diligence that was done, I'm not saying you could start off good and end up bad, or somewhere along the way, because that's the problem we face. If we could identify that, okay, would you give that a chance again? Once bitten, twice shy.
Okay,
and for that reason, there are callers that rebutting me. Harris again. I personally have nothing with Harris and a human being created by God.
Okay,
But I cannot, okay?
Yeah, I think you made the point
the money laundering and to whom it concern. Because your name are listed here in U.S. banks for money laundering.
Okay.
And there is damn well no that they're going to get a chance under my watch.
Okay, my brother.
Okay? So who is endorsing Harris again? Harris has done his damage to the country.
Okay, my brother. Okay, I've got you. I told you I'll guide you by the rules of brevity. So thanks a lot for your contribution. My time is done. My time is done, but thanks a lot for your contribution, my brother. Patches, good night. Read this email. Your presentation was super excellent. Patches, I'm singing for you. Patches again. Patches, we need to stop give these investors our people's money. Poor people like me can't go National Bank and get a mortgage because we're too poor. Only imitation rich people could get loans out of National Bank. I applied for a loan to finish my house. The bank pretty much saying I am not rich enough to get this loan as I have incoming revenue of $13,000 a month and land's worth $300,000 and more. Patches, listening to the Prime Minister today, I was saying to myself, wait, the Prime Minister did not say what was the new selling price for the harbour, but he's saying all the debts the harbour has outstanding. I was like, you think people won't ask what the harbour was sold for? People want to hear the revenue the government would have made for National Bank and our citizens. July was what was Christopher Harbour sold for. We are not stupid. July reads this email, and that's my final email. Oh no, I have one more email here. Good night, Mr. Liburd. Who has the documents for Christopher Harbour? And what happened to the money that the bank gave them to invest? Did the bank get back their money? Lastly, shouldn't it be the responsibility of the bank to sell the Marina? The bank was actually trying to recover 453 acres of land, I think it was. It was up for collateral. That matter went to the court, mark you. And the question we may ask, as we wind up tonight's programming, or wind down, whichever is the right term, this property or this claim that the bank made, I think I should end on this note, because we need to resurrect the case for justice. How can EC $25 million benefit the country in a tangible way? And again, you gave us these specifics. He said this.
Specifically, the sale has facilitated the payment of EC $4.5 million to Social Security Board, EC $2.4 million to SCELEC, EC $5.7 million to the Sugar Industry Diversification Fund, or SIDF, EC $2.8 million to the National Bank Trust, and EC $2.7 million directly to the National Bank. Additionally, EC $3 million has been paid toward outstanding property tax arrears, and EC $3.6 million in stamp duties. These were debts left lingering for many years. With these payments, we have brought closure and clarity.
He has brought no closure, neither clarity. Because just look at the critical pieces of this broken puzzle. The case brought by St. Kitts, Nevis, and Gwilla National Bank. Under the former administration, which sought to establish rightful ownership and enforce financial accountability over 433 acres of prime national land tied to the Christopher Harbour. This case was not just about acres. It was about accountability. It was about justice. It was about whether the people of this country would be repaid what was owed to them. Whether a developer like Buddy Darby, who borrowed and defaulted, would be allowed to walk away while the people bore the costs. Douglas acquired the land, some 854 acres of land, which he sold to Buddy Darby for $17 million. Some owners, or land for some owners, got caught up in it, unknowing to Douglas, and took the matter to court. And the court awarded $27 million when he already sold it for $17 million. My Straight Talk family, in the case with Buddy Darby, the bank asserted its claim to the land as security for unpaid debts and sought the court's permission to sell the property, not at fire sale prices, but at a just and fair upset price, to recover what rightfully belonged to our financial system, the National Bank, and by extension, our people. What happened to that case? Why was that case buried since Drew came to office? Why has this government failed to resurrect the fight for those 433 acres? Those lands were pledged as collateral. They were tied to a loan, not a gift, not a grant, and certainly not an investment. My Straight Talk family, the people were told for years that this project would yield or generate $17 billion in economic impact. I showed you that. That was part of the agreement signed by Douglas way back in 2005. After 20 years. Read it for yourselves, my Straight Talk family. Read the excerpt. It is very clear. They promised $17 billion. This is what it reads. Look at the second line on page, come below page 6 there. Read from, for example. It reads, and I quote, for example, development of the resort is projected to provide St. Kitts with total tax and economic benefits of over $17 million over the next approximately 20 years. That was 20 years ago. But what we have seen instead is the quiet disappearance of our patrimony. The silent disappearance of our patrimony, or the silent sale of the Marina, and only a pittance returned to the National Bank or the SIDF. $5 million. The National Bank is owed $67 or $68 billion. And Straight Talk is saying we must reopen the case. We must demand the court revisit the question of rightful ownership. And we must establish a transparent upset price that reflects the true value of our land and not the whims of foreign developers or the silence of political operatives. This is more than a legal matter. It is moral reckoning, my Straight Talk family. We are not here to dwell on failure. We are here to reclaim our dignity and demand action. We must launch a full independent audit and immediate forensic investigation into Christopher Harbour and the Body Darby operations. We must publish the development agreement. The original St. Kitts development agreement signed under Denzel Douglas or by Denzel Douglas back in 2005, and all the amendments made under that agreement, all signed by Denzel Douglas, the last in 2007. People have a right to know what was signed in their name. We must demand repayment. If Body Darby or his entities cannot pay, the government must take legal action to recover national funds or assets. And we must suspend further concessions. All those concessions, we cannot continue to give away what we do not have. And we must enact a Public Asset Protection Act. A new law must be introduced that prohibits the sale of strategic national assets without public consultation and parliamentary approval. It's about time we as a people get mobilized, organize town halls, civic forums, and peaceful demonstration. This is not just about one Marina. It's about the kind of country we want to leave for our children. My people, the time for silence is over. The time for waiting is gone. Let us send a clear message to this government and any government that comes thereafter that we are not fools, we are not bystanders, and we will not be silent. It is time to put an end to the Conumunu politics that has drained our resources and insulted our intelligence. Let's stand for transparency. Let's stand for justice. And most importantly, let us stand for our future. Terence Michael July abandoned his responsibility as Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. He should not have taken deductions. Having sold the Marina, he hasn't told us at what cost. The country still doesn't know. Did Body Darby have received enough to pay off? Didn't Body Darby receive enough to pay off his debt? The AG must have agreed as well, Govt Lucifer Wilkin. Body Darby will play the same old game as he did with Skellig. He swapped land for debt, Skellig's debt, and he still accumulated millions of dollars in debt to Skellig again. He will play that song over and over again. So how was Body Darby allowed to accumulate $2.4 million in electricity debt? How could Body Darby owe Social Security $4.5 million? But Body Darby is no different to Govt Lucifer Wilkin. They are the same. While other little employers, they go to jail. If Drew wants to be transparent, he must tell the country and his people how much was paid for the Marina and how much did Body Darby keep for himself and Christopher Harbour. There's a stench, my Straight Talk family, a stench of corruption in the atmosphere. When the St. Kitts, Nevis, and Gwilla National Bank is owed US $25 million, and only $5 million collected for the National Bank and the National Trust combined. My Straight Talk family, we brought you the gospel truth. We have a dishonest bunch of politicians in government who took a hike in pay, but that has not eliminated corruption in cabinet. it's all of these irregularities, all of these anomalies, why we have a Darby Duped Conumunu government and $130 million just gone with the Marina. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I will thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners. Those of you who call, those of you who send emails, remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spirit, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember as well that for the weekend, do your chores, yes? Go to church. Praise the Lord. Thank Him for the wonderful things and blessings He has poured upon us. And when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Be well.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. My way, with strength and courage from above, no man I'll fear, since God protects me with His love. Strong, pure and true, and so sincere, 'cause my knees I'll always stay to the Lord in prayer. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren